Beata Pachowska. I'm from Tree Institute from Poland. And for more than 13 years, I try to keep a good balance between my education and my practice now. So between human beings and trees and other organisms connected with trees. So it's not easy, as you know. And now my role is to make a presentation, a speech about how to implement standards in arboricultural practice. We've all seen in Valentino's presentation that Czech Republic has been really successful in implementation of tree protection solutions, yes, but not in implementation of standards of this, and also not in implementation of keeping good control standards. So implementation of part of standards is not a good implementation, as we know. So it's not easy process to implement any new solution, not only standards, but also other norms we have, and we have now more and more such new things in our life. Have you implemented new solution or new norms in last year? Of course, because of COVID. Yes? Okay. What is a standard? Of course, we will not talk about these standards which we have on the screen now, but when we talk about standard in general, you should think about the definition. So this is a criterion, usually defining the characteristic or state of something. Yes, for example, things, process, or effects. Usually it is developed and or accepted in a target group, not in a whole society, but only in a part of it. And usually it is written down. And as a document, we really often use a name, a norm for this, yes? Usually it also includes several requirements and specifications, sometimes basics, minimums, or must. Desirable or potential level, for example, should be, yes, or can. Sometimes unacceptable things, for example, must not, should not, yes, and we have all these things also in the standards we talked today, yes. It is related to the object, process, or effects, and it is intended to optimize products or services, processes, communication, and also sometimes to reduce damage or loss of something, yes, for example, of effects, products, or human beings' life, yes. We know a lot of standards, and we use them for different things. So scope of applicability of the standard is very important. Every time we should think what the standard is and what the standard is not, because usually there are several limitations. For example, this norm is not applicable for arboriculture. And when we can say that the standard becomes a standard, of course, it is known, so everybody knows what is in the standard included. It is accepted and it is used. Is it true for all standards we use? For example, for the metric standard? No. No, we don't use metric standards in a lot of things or areas of our life. Can you remember such a, show me the example? TV screens, for example. We use inches for this. Who knows why? Not centimeters. Sometimes we use also centimeters, but sometimes inches. It's very simple, yes? And also the next thing, very important, is that it is common. In the region, covered by the standard, for example, in the Czech Republic, in Poland, or in Europe, yes, or implementation area. In arboriculture, in, I don't know, industry, construction area, or something like this. So the area of the standard could be limited also. Okay, how standards can be used? It is not necessary to implement or use the standards as a whole, and everywhere we can use it. We can use it as a source of knowledge. For example, in arboriculture standard documentation, we have a lot of tables, pictures, solutions. It could be used as a part of this. Yes, it's not a manual, it's not a textbook, but we can use them to strengthen own knowledge. Yes, it could be used also as a guide. Yes, as a guide who lead us to the better activity effects, and also as a normative benchmark to control if the effects and the process is on the right way. In general, we have two directions of implementation of a new novelties or new norm or such as standards, for example. From the top down, typically this is decision of authorities, local municipality, the owner of the company, or somebody else who has a power, we can say, yes? But we have a lot of standards or a rule in our life when the social agreement was more important, yes? So no necessity for decision from the top to the bottom. We agreed for a lot of. Sometimes these two directions coexist. For example, traffic rules. Yes, when we think about traffic rules, we have both law regulation and also social agreement for this. What is the good sign that the both implementation are implemented successfully in a society? The question for you. No policeman control needed, and no punishments. Yeah, that's all. One is from the top, and one is from the bottom. Okay, so we have a lot of products in the test project. Yes, we have 3 standards described today. We have also app, just described by Joseph. We have also national annexes, fact sheets. We didn't talk about today, yes, about them, but they are also a piece of knowledge which could be implemented or used in the practice. There is also a web platform, which now is very simple, but it will be developed in the next step. So the ECOS project, in next 3 years, we will have 3 new standards and also national annexes, and there is more and more translation. So there is a lot of product to implement, yes? We have also a lot of potential users of the standards. Of course, the trees, managers of landowners and so on. We have the decision makers. Sometimes it's not the same person as the owner of the, or the manager of the land. We have suppliers or producers trees or tree work products. We have work contracts or contractors, which are on the conference well presented, we can say. We have also architects, designers, a lot of other potential users and recipients. So the implementation potential of the standards and other products is very, very big. But when we think about when we are successful in implementation, we see that it is necessary to have common knowledge, common agreement for this, and common usage. Okay, so let's think how to implement and think about such simple 8 steps. First of all, it is necessary to check which standards are recommended for your organization, for my organization, or an individual. So if I am among the target groups and the topic of the standards or other products is interesting for me, then it is necessary to see select standards or other products, analyze the current status of the organization, of the knowledge, of the other guidelines, because sometimes they are present in the organization, in the country, or somewhere else, yes. Identify needs and opportunities. Make analysis of the impact on the implementation of on the organization, because implementation always is means cost. We have to have time for this and also sometimes budget. So make the implementation decision. Do this or not. Prepare and establish implementation procedure, the budget. Do this, carry on implementation, and also check and make possibly necessary changes. Okay, how do you evaluate the impact of the implementation? There are several areas which the impact could be noticed. On the brand, strategy or image of the organization, of course, yes, because it can be something which improving brands or changing brand. It could have also impact on resources, relationship with other parties, but also commitments, because if we say I implement something, it is also a kind of duty for us. Yes, we can say I have to do something which could limit me in the future. Yes, then communication, because we can communicate. We are the supporter or user of the new standard for planting, for example. The budget and efficacy or efficiency, we can say it, on the quality, time of profit. What to implement? Typically, we think about implementation as a whole thing, for example, whole standard or all products. It is not necessary. Sometimes it's possible to implement only selected elements or selected product or mix of them, but it's also possible to implement all these things here. Okay. How it could be used, for example, to raise own competences, to give other participants in the process, for example, to our colleagues or employees, yes. It could also have impact on content or contracts or job description. If we have standards, it's very easy to say, do this in this way, or see the page this and this. That's all, yeah. It's minimize the effort connected with the description. Of course, other documents, normative acts, and so on, for example, regulation or resolution we use. How to implement? We can do it in informal way, so just say, okay, let's start and use it, yes? Put on the shelf, for example, give other colleagues in the company and so on, do this. We can also prepare and conduct a formal procedure, for example, inner or outer decision or legislative act. It depends on the company organization. Of course, maybe the best solution for the product output is to have the regulation change, yes, on the country level or even European level. We will see. And as a small example, implementation in a small arboriculture company how it could be prepared and conduct. Of course, we have standards, we know them, we have a lot of products, so start of analysis of current situation, then analyze all the products, analyze the feasibility of implementation and benefits and impact on the organization, make the choice, inform employees, customers, and other parties, other stakeholders, retrain or make a change in the practice. Sometimes it's necessary to buy some new products, for example, new technologies and so on. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it will be not. In this case, not always. Supervise and make, again, the analysis of the current situation. Maybe it will be a place for the second standard, for the new standards, which will be prepared in the next years. Okay, and on the end, very simple tips. So standard is not a textbook, even if some part of knowledge could be got from the descriptions. Yes, the textbooks and manual should be also additional part of change. Implementation is a process, so it's necessary to plan the process and plan also the timeline. Yes, so it will be not at once. Maybe it will be a year, maybe two, maybe more. And always have a document at hand, so it's good to print the documentation and have it on a shelf, in a car, or something else. PDF is a good form, but as we all know, it's not at hand in general. Yeah. Okay. And also, on the end, as we saw in inches and centimeters, old habits are really strong. So new habits should be checked and controlled as often as it is necessary. Thank you for your attention.